VersaGrips are really popular in the bodybuilding world, but I use them in an everyday workout with my clients, especially if my clients want to do a heavy deadlift and their forearms are getting tired or their hands are slipping. And then also if a client has some bad wrists and it hurts to do any chest press or push-ups. So you can see on the right hand side, I'm using them for wrist support. On the left, I'm using them as a grip support in a deadlift. Alright, so let's go over what to do when you first get these and then how to use them in a workout. When you first get them, they're going to come just like this and they're going to be pretty stiff, slightly uncomfortable around your wrists. So to speed that process up, because it does get better once you use them more, I like to tighten the wrist wrap as tight as it will go. What I'm trying to do is get that used to being in that circle position so that it will be more comfortable around my wrist. I will also tuck the leather piece into it because that slightly curves it and makes it easier to wrap around a bar and a dumbbell. So for about 2 weeks, I'll store them in my gym bag like that, or just depending on how much I use them. Now when I'm done with that whole process, I will keep them in my gym bag attached because I'm always worried I'm going to lose one, so I'll Velcro them together and then I'll throw them in my gym bag like this, so I'm never just left with one VersaGrip. Alright, so let's talk about putting them on. The right hand VersaGrip does have a little tag that says right, so that will obviously help you know which one's which, but I have a little trick. So the side that has the long strap is the same side as your thumb. Go ahead and put it against your palm, flip it over, feed it through the ring, and then tighten it. If you're not lifting right away, you don't have to tighten it really tight, but just put it around your wrist. So again, on this other hand, same side that has the long strap is the same side as your thumb. Flip it over and then feed it through. You'll also notice that I have an Apple Watch. You want to move that up your forearm a little bit. Sometimes the VersaGrip will hold down the button on the side and possibly call 911, turn on Siri, all that fun stuff. So just move that up your forearm. Now there's some exercises that you may not use the grip part, but it's kind of annoying to take them off, put them back on. So all you have to do is just loosen it up and then turn it around so that grip part is on the backhand side of your hand. This is also how you can use it for just a wrist support during chest press or push-ups. And then when you need them, you just flip them back around. Now, as far as tightness, you don't want it to be too uncomfortable. You can also tighten it during the exercise and then loosen it up in between sets when you're resting. And again, one tip to avoid losing one of them, make sure that you Velcro them together and store them in your gym bag so that you're not left with just one VersaGrip. Remember I said these are pretty stiff when you first get them, so that means that it's going to be hard for your fingertips to reach that grip because it's so straight that you're not going to be able to wrap it around the bar. So here's a little tip I teach my clients. You're going to use your thumb to bring that grip closer to your fingertips, wrap it around the bar, and then your fingertips will be able to reach it and tighten it. As far as your thumb placement, my clients always ask if it matters if it's wrapped or not wrapped around the bar. I generally will wrap it, especially during really heavy deadlifts, but because the VersaGrip is doing most of the heavy lifting for you, it's kind of whatever's comfortable for you. Using these on barbells are probably the most popular because of heavy deadlifts, but again, it's used just like the dumbbell. You're going to use your thumb to bring that grip closer to your fingertips, and then you're going to tighten it, and then it's going to be a lot easier on your forearms and your grip when you lift up that bar. You can also use them in an underhand grip. The only difference is that your palm is flipped up instead of downward. You attach it just the same. Now, oftentimes when I do this grip with my clients, they get off-centered a little bit, so we have to rotate them. It makes it easier for them to attach to the bar and also feels a little bit more comfortable on their wrist. All right, last way to use it as a grip, and then we'll get into wrist support. Oftentimes when my clients are doing a heavy dumbbell squat, their fingers will slip because they're sweaty or their fingertips just don't have really good strength. So what you can do is use the grip just alongside your palm. You're not really wrapping it around anything. You're just using that tacky grip to avoid from slipping on the dumbbell. Using these as wrist supports in a workout is nice because you don't have to buy another accessory, and then you don't have to take your grips off and put them back on throughout a workout. What we're going to be using is that strap to keep a little bit more neutral angle on that wrist. Oftentimes when clients are doing push-ups, if they're too far over their hands, it puts a weird angle on their wrist, and that's what causes the wrist pain. So the support is just keeping it a little bit more neutral. Now remember I showed you can flip the grip around, so if you're just using these for wrist support and that grip is getting in your way and it's bugging you, you can go ahead and loosen the grip, flip it around, and then tighten it to whatever feels comfortable to support your wrist. I am also doing an incline push-up on the bar. Sometimes my clients will say this hurts their palm, so I will use that grip as extra cushion on their palm. Now just some fun ways to see how you can use them. So remember, they're not just for leg days, it's anything that you're using a grip for, or I've also shown you for wrist support, or if you need to add some extra cushion to your palm. So they're just popular on leg days because oftentimes legs are stronger than people's grip and their forearms. But you can see on the far right, I'm also using them on back day. Probably my two favorite workouts to use them is legs and back.